With the Eagles' Super Bowl victory last night over the Kansas City Chiefs, Lions fans definitely got a very painful lesson about what they have to do in order to get to the Super Bowl themselves. But we're going to talk about it and how it's not exactly the way Lions fans are thinking. Stay tuned, everybody. It's about to get interesting.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10, 5, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. Folks, I'm going to tell you something right now. That game last night for the Super Bowl, I do not think anybody was expecting. I'm just going to say this right now. I didn't watch the game. To be entirely honest with you, I will say this. I did listen to, certain highlights that were coming in. I listened to what my friends were saying as they were watching the game, but I just couldn't watch the game. I was like, listen, I'm not interested in the game. I don't care about the game. And I think a lot of other people were much the same. We were curious to see how the game would go, but we were not interested enough to actually turn the damn thing on and actually watch it. And even when I heard how the Eagles were doing, I still wasn't interested, because to me it's like, listen, number one, it's not my team, but also, number two, I really couldn't give a damn one way or the other. For me, the game just was not worth it for me to actually turn it on. But I will say this. What I was able to pick up, even though I didn't watch the game, was this. The Lions learned something from that game last night, and they learned something the hard way. And what exactly am I talking about? I know that for some Lions fans, this episode's going to be yet another reinforcing of the fact that the Lions have got to get better on defense. There's no two ways around this. If you take a look at that game last night against the Eagles and the Chiefs, defense was the primary reason why the Eagles won that game. There's no two ways about it. The Eagles' defense absolutely, quite literally suffocated the ever-living life out of the Chiefs' offense. The Eagles' defense was just all over freaking Mahomes and in the Chiefs' offense from word one, from play one, whatever term you'd like to use. There was no opportunity for the Chiefs offense really to get going against that Eagles defense. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Some people are going to take a look at that game last night, and the first thing they're going to say is that this is absolutely 100% the proof necessary needed to show that Brad Holmes has got to go out and he has got to acquire a talent like a Myles Garrett, like, what's the word? Like one of the Bosa brothers, one of the Watt brothers, a Trey Hendrickson, whatever have you. That is the proof positive that is exactly what Holmes has got to do. Okay, that's one way to look at it. But I'm going to tell you this right now. If you were just to take a look at the most basic level of that game, you would be both half right and half wrong. Yes, the Lions do need to get better on defense. Yes, the Lions do need to add to their pass rush element. But if you think that the way that the Lions have to do it is by trading the farm for a guy like a Hendrickson, for a guy like a Garrett, for a guy like one of the Bosa brothers or one of the Watt brothers, I've said this before and I'll say it again. There's nothing about a trade of those things that I am against. Getting one of those guys would be absolutely phenomenal value because of the types of players that they are. But at the same time, last night's Super Bowl victory from the Chiefs for the Eagles is going to tell you something also as well if you pay attention close enough. See, everybody just wants to look at the fact that, you know what, the Chiefs were all over freaking Mahomes. That pass rush was just damn unstoppable. But you have to actually take a much deeper look at how that pass rush was built. You have to actually step back and realize that how Howie Roseman built that defensive roster is actually rather important in this conversation. Let me just point something out here for you. Take a look at how Brad Holmes has built this defensive roster. The Lions have built this defensive roster primarily through the draft. I mean, if you think about it, almost every single piece that the Lions have is through the draft. There are a few exceptions to the rule. Guys like Carlton Davis, who was a trade candidate. Guys like DJ Reader, who was obviously picked up through the free agency market. But other than that, most of the talent that the Lions have on that defense is drafted talent. Well, if you think about it from that perspective, take a look then how freaking Howie Roseman built the freaking roster that he has with the Eagles, especially on defense. And especially when we're talking about the pass rushing element, because that's the thing right now with Lions fans. They are absolutely 100% sold out, adamant, believing that the Lions have got to go out and trade for a top-notch pass rush element. But I'm telling you this right now, if you take a look at that game last night for the Eagles and the Chiefs, yeah, you're going to see that the pass rush element was important. But when you take a look at how that pass rush element was built by Howie Roseman and the Eagles, they didn't do it by selling the farm. In fact, they did it the exact same way that Holmes has been doing it. Now, I'm going to say this. Holmes has not really paid a whole lot of attention to the pass rushing element the way that Howie Roseman has done it through the draft. Because if we realistically want to be honest with ourselves, and I do mean that, I'm not trying to be snarky, Brad Holmes has only drafted one outstanding edge rusher or one outstanding pass rusher. Yes, I understand that Aleem McNeill can also be considered a pass rusher. Not going to deny that. But again, when we're talking about a true edge rushing talent, the only guy he's drafted has been Aiden Hutchinson. Now, let's also be fair to Holmes here. When he took over the job as GM, he had an immense amount of things he had to try and fill on that defense. It wasn't just like, oh, we need a piece here or a piece there. Hell no. He had to completely refurbish that defense from top to bottom. Howie Roseman has been in the freaking GM chair for the Eagles since, 2012? So again, you're talking about how Holmes has only been in the job for 4 years, whereas Howie Roseman's been in the job for almost 3 times as long. So again, it's not comparable. But what is comparable is how they've done it. If you take a look at the guys that got sacks and guys that got QB hits last night, according to ESPN, there are 7 names. I went specifically to ESPN and I wrote them down so that way I can actually prove this all to you guys. So that way you guys can know, number 1, I'm not jiving you. Number 2, I'm not bullshitting you. And number 3, again, I do the research here so that way I can present a comprehensive argument. If you take a look at the 7 guys last night for the Eagles that either got sacks or got QB hits, meaning they applied some sort of pressure, were somehow successful in that pass rush element, you get these 7 names. Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Jalen Hunt, Zach Bond, and Nolan Smith Jr. and Jalen Carter. Okay, you want to know what's interesting about those 7 names? There's only one guy on that entire list that's not a draft pick by the Eagles, by Howie Roseman. Only one. And that's Bond. Zach Bond is the only guy on that list that is not an Eagles draft pick. He was a free agent acquisition this year where the Eagles signed him to a, what was it? Was it a mega deals contract? Hell no, it wasn't. It was a 1-year deal worth $3.5 million. That's what I call bargain bin shopping. That's what I call being frugal. Now, wait a minute here. I said that was the only one. So that means the 6 other guys are draft picks. Well, wait a minute here. That must mean that they're all top-end draft picks. No, only half of them are. When you take a look at Josh Sweat was a 4th-round draft pick in 2018. Milton Williams, a third-round draft pick in 2021. Jalen Hunt, a third-round draft pick this last year. The only first-round draft picks, which, again, there are 3, but think about this, are Jordan Davis, who was from 2022, Nolan Smith Jr., and Jalen Carter, who are both from the 2023 draft. Now, that's why I said earlier, Holmes has not done nearly the same amount of drafting for the front of the line when it comes to the pass rushing element that Howie Roseman has. Howie Roseman, as I just clearly demonstrated, has drafted ridiculously when it comes to applying the heat, applying pass rushing threats. That is without a doubt, you can't dispute that. But notice something there. Notice something. When were these guys drafted? Jordan Davis, 2022. Nolan Smith Jr., 2023. Jalen Carter, 2023. Wait a minute here. All of these guys are still on their rookie contracts. Because, oh, that's right. They've only been in the league for 2 going on 3 years. So what does that tell you? That tells you this. You do not have to swing a massive all-out trade for the fences to get a guy like a Myles Garrett, to get a guy like one of the Bosa brothers, to get a guy like one of the Watt brothers. You don't have to do it. In fact, it's smarter if you go the route that Howie Roseman has laid the foundation for, and that also Holmes has been laying the foundation for. Because think about this, folks. The Lions could make the trade for Myles Garrett this year, if they really, really, truly wanted to. Or for Hendrickson, or for any of the other guys I've mentioned. They could do that. But notice what it would cost in terms of draft capital and in terms of salary cap in order to do it. It would cost quite a hell of a lot. When you take a look at how Howie Roseman has built the Eagles roster, he doesn't have to worry about something like that for at least a little bit of time because he's got all these guys that are operating on rookie contracts. Now, eventually he's going to have to pay them all. And that's where this is going to become a bit of a problem for him. But that's the issue of whether or not you want the instant gratification route of, okay, let's go out and get a Myles Garrett, or continue to build through the draft, which, one, as we have seen, has proved that it has the results that you're looking for as far as continual progression and development of players to give you a better result on the field because, oh, that's right, the Lions have gone from 3-13-1 to 9-8 to 12-5 to 15-2. But also, at the same time, if you develop talent in-house, you're going to be able to not only, one, afford it for longer, keep it cheaper for longer, but at the same time, as we just saw last night against the Chiefs, you've got all these guys, they've been around each other for years. Think about it. The guy that's been there the longest is Josh Sweat. He's been there since 2018. Otherwise, everybody else has been in the building since either one, this year because they were a rookie, as is the case with Hunt, or they've been there for the last couple of years. The point is if you keep bringing in guys and you develop the camaraderie, you develop that team culture through the draft, you're going to get a much more comprehensive and cohesive unit. My whole point is this. What did Howie Roseman do that got him to win that Super Bowl last night? The Super Bowl last night was won by the Eagles because Howie Roseman placed a premium on drafting, not trading for high-end defensive talent. Think about it, folks. If you take a look at how the Eagles won that game last night, they won it because their pass rush just killed the Chiefs. And every single guy, save one, was a draft pick. I'm going to tell you this right now. You can't overlook that and say, well, that just doesn't make any sense. That's irrelevant to this conversation. Bullcrap. It is very relevant to this conversation. You can say, you know what? I still want a Myles Garrett. I still want a Trey Hendrickson. I still want this guy or that guy. And you know what? That's fine. I'm not saying that idea is wrong. But what I am saying is this. Be careful what you wish for. There is a reason why when teams and organizations make those mega buck trades, those massive trades, everybody wants to talk about, okay, you've now gotten yourself a piece for right now. Well, here's the thing. You had better make the most of it for the right now. Otherwise, that trade's not going to look nearly as good. Howie Roseman has built the Eagles through long suffering, building patience through the draft. Think about it, folks. This is Howie Roseman's second Super Bowl that he has orchestrated with the Eagles. The first one was back in 2017. This is now the second one. Let's think about this here. The 2017 season to the 2024 season. How many years of a difference is that? 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. You're talking about almost a decade's difference between those two. And on top of that, in the 2022 season, they actually made it to the Super Bowl. So Howie Roseman, over the last, damn near decade, has gotten the Eagles to 3 Super Bowls, winning 2 of them. I would say that the draft method has proven its value compared to, just pushing all your chips into the middle and saying, we're going to go all out for one singular player and let that be what gets us to a Super Bowl. Again, I have no doubt in the mindset that, fans want to go with the whole Rams of F them picks nonsense. I get it. I understand it. You want a Super Bowl now. You want to win now. But again, that's not how Holmes, that's not how Campbell, that's not how Goff, that's not how this entire team wants it. They want sustained success. And when you take a look at how Holmes, Campbell, and the rest of them have built this roster, they have been proven last night by how Howie Roseman built this roster for the Eagles that it works. It works. So for me, it's like, you had the proof last night of how the Eagles beat the Chiefs, that it works. You've seen how Holmes with Campbell have made this Lions team into such a juggernaut over 4 years. Stay the course. It works. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel when you have the results showing it for themselves. I understand the allure and the attraction of making a big-time trade. I get it. But let's just call it for what it is. This is the same kind of mindset Lions fans have had for decades. Oh, we just need this one big trade. We just need this one big player, and all of a sudden we'll become relevant. We're already relevant. We don't need to make a big swing trade like that. Just keep doing what you're doing. Stay the course. Remain patient. Remain vigilant in how you got here. There's no reason to switch up a winning formula when the formula has proven that it's already won. Again, this is part of the issue when it comes to championship-style sports. You can get that winning success model instantaneously if you want it. And I understand for Lions fans, that is very alluring. That's very attractive. But at the same time, what's more attractive? Having just one Super Bowl and then becoming irrelevant again, or winning multiple Super Bowls? That to me is what I'm after. That to me is what I think the Lions are after. I'm not saying that you guys are wrong for wanting that trade. I think it's a great idea. But are you willing to accept the consequences that come from it? Again, my dad had a perfect saying, and to this day I still use it as a method of understanding things. You can choose your choices, but you can't choose the consequences of those choices. Just saying, I would much rather take the conservative build route that we have seen time and time again is very effective and works every single time damn near in the NFL versus the risk it all, push all your chips to the middle and hope it works. And even if it does work, you're only going to get one shot. Would you rather risk everything on one shot or would you rather have multiple shots? I would much rather have multiple shots, especially in how crazy the NFL is. But that's just me. Anyway, I'm going to end this episode. I believe I've presented the evidence as clearly as I possibly can. So having said that, I'm going to say thank you all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage you all to watch the next episode. Also encourage you all to do one of these 3 things, like, comment, and subscribe. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, I want to highly encourage you all, please make sure that you not only, share the content and, subscribe if you haven't done so in the past, but make sure you hit that bell notification icon so you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Also encourage you all, like I said, to share the content content, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever. The more we can do it, the greater the channel can grow and spread. And with that being said, folks, I just want to say to everybody, I hope you all enjoyed the content. I hope you all got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. Whether this is the first time you guys are watching me or whether you guys have been watching me for the upteenth time, I truly hope that I was able to give you something you guys both enjoyed watching, but that you also learned something from. Having said that, I just want to say to everybody, God bless, and until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.